Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me now? Thank you very much for coming here this evening, especially those of you who've travelled from interstate, from Melbourne, Sydney, and Perth, Rachel. Wow. Now, birthday parties are what other girls have. At least that's what I thought. That's what I knew when I was growing up. Sally Lacey was the most adorable, golden-locked 7-year-old. And she beams. She is surrounded by girls in pretty, if not frilly, frocks. Everyone is beautifully dressed except tomboy me. I wear 2 ribbons tying the pigtails of my black fringed hair. My smile shows 2 missing front teeth. I wear no frills, simply a short-sleeved shirt over my brand new jodhpurs. At age 7, I was still dreaming of going to America to be changed into a boy. Just as well it was 1952, not today. Sally's was my first school party. Alas, Sally then moved to Launceston and was lost to me, until in 2015, through the internet, I tracked down her widower, Kevin, in Sydney. Sally had become a mother of 5 children and a very successful piano teacher. I realize now that my relationship with Sally represented my first experience of grief, of mourning. I also realize, in retrospect, that the loss of Sally was an early lesson in life's realities. Mrs. Lacey used to collect Sally at lunchtime, and she often gave me a lift. So I was dropped off at our shop at 139 Liverpool Street, opposite the Green Gate, where Mama grilled Helene and me baby lamb chops for lunch. Mrs. Lacey's last words to me were, "Helene, as soon as we're settled in Launceston, we'll have you up to stay with us." And being 7, I believed every word. As the months, as the years passed, I realized that even some of the most well-meaning individuals can make promises they will never fulfill. Gail Bonetto's parties were held at the Imperial Hotel in Collins Street, opposite Fitzgerald's, until they moved to her home in Albura Street. Fortunately, tonight, 2 of the St. Mary's College party girls of the early 1950s are here tonight. Geraldine Jones. Geraldine, would you please stand up? Stand up. Geraldine Jones introduced us to Spin the Bottle. if we span the bottle and it pointed when it stopped to her cousin, future sports commentator, the late Peter Sharp, or his mate, future rocker, Paul Shirley, either Peter or Paul pecked the girl on the cheek. Thank you, Geraldine. And now Virginia Morgan. Now my two very good Catholic cousin and her daughter arriving. Debbie missed the St. Mary's College photograph because she was playing the piano for Mass at St. Mary's Cathedral. So she is bringing a blessing to tonight. And this is my niece, Olivia, yet another doctor in the family of about 5 doctors. Now, just pop over, or there, just pop over there.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Just pop over there. No, now I'm going to ask Virginia Morgan to stand. Virginia Morgan staged her party at Newlands. And they were very fancy. The marzipan fruit and vegetables were what today would be called awesome. I lived over a fruit and vegetable shop, but never saw or tasted anything so delectable. Although birthday parties were what other girls had, I didn't feel deprived. It simply was one more thing that made Helene and me different from our classmates. We were Chinese. We had divorced parents. Our mother was a nude model. And she never went to Mass. And we lived with her and her extended Henry family over the shop. So I'm sorry, Virginia. I'm sorry, Geraldine. It's taken me a lifetime to reciprocate. When we moved from the shop, I turned 10. And Helene piped up. She said, let's have a party. So she and Mama disappeared in the newly acquired red MG and returned with an enormous elephant ice cream. It was bigger than the old dial-up telephone. Auntie Monica once held a conventional, lovely afternoon tea for Helene, but we staged 2 parties of our own, real parties with boys, booze and fags. The first was at Uncle Lester's house in Taroona. It was totally unsupervised. We had the place to ourselves. And I am still shocked when I recall the sight of pashing going on, heavy petting going on the long settee along the wall. The second party was at our father's place when his children were away. We turned up with loads of beer and soft drinks, platters of food, packets of cigarettes, stacks of 45s. He stood on watching for a while from the kitchen and then disappeared. At 3 a.m., when all the guests have left, we switched on the light to a shambles. Glasses everywhere, overflowing ashtrays, remnants of food. We took one look, agreed we'll clean up in the morning, and fell into bed. Next morning, I awoke to silence. I padded around the house. Our father was nowhere to be seen, but he'd left the place spotless. The cushions were all plumped, the kitchen sparkled. Now I'm going to end this recollection of school day memories by reference to my summer afternoon smoking party, also down at Taroona. Now, I could never inhale, so I could only puff a bit on some Alpine sort of cigarette. But my abiding memory of that summer afternoon, circa 1960-61, is of a head school prefect, Lorraine Cooper. Would you like to stand, Lorraine? Lorraine Cooper, as I recall, vividly, sat with her legs crossed, one over the knee, looking and facing outwards in a manner that the nuns condemned as unladylike. And she was blowing out smoke rings from her nostrils. Decades later, I still can't inhale. And I still drink as little as in my teens or my 20s. So clearly, I'm a late starter. But I wake up every morning ready to start a new day and asking myself, why have I survived? Why am I here when so many of my contemporaries are buried in Lord Byron's dreamless sleep? I can only follow Mark Twain's advice. When in doubt, tell the truth and live my way. As Oscar Wilde says, be yourself. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. I need give me a drop in there. Okay, that's right. So I ask you now to stand, raise your glasses to 2025. This is the year 2025, the year of the snake in the era of Trump. So that's it. Thank you. All right.
Brilliant.
Thank
So
you.
brilliant.
Beautiful.
So brilliant.
So you look after your table.
Wicked youth.